we will start with our first question here, that is from the general orthopedics. Our chapter number 1 here is general orthopedics, and this goes our first question. Most metabolically active part in a bone. You have four options: cortical bone, cancellous bone, periosteal surface, and osteal surface. To make this, I do hope most of you have guessed your answer, that the most metabolically active part in a bone is, yes, everyone. Okay, fine. Let me give you a brief. So what you are looking at right now here is the cancellous bone, which has got a very trabecular pattern. You have got a outer bone, which is a compact bone, dense bone, hard bone. Now please try to understand that on the inside you have something which is called as medullary cavity. All right, this is the basic structure. So inside you have a medulla, then you have the cancellous bone, and then you have the cortical bone. Now that's not important. What is important is that what is outside the cortical bone. Outside the cortical bone, there is this love and life of a bone, and that love and life of a bone is what is called as periosteum. Now, this periosteum is further divided into two layers. One is called as the outer layer, one is called as the inner layer. Mind you, everyone, this outer layer is basically nothing but the fibrous layer. And this outer layer, which is basically the fibrous layer, is essentially for protection. Now when I say protection, what does that mean? That whenever there is an impact on the bone, this layer absorbs the impact. Then you have an inner layer. This inner layer is basically the cambium layer, and this inner cambium layer is important for two reasons. Number one, this inner cambium layer is basically important. Why? Because it is the reason for production of something which is called as callus. Second thing that I want you to understand is that this inner cambium layer is absent in a bone. That bone is what is called as neck of femur. So from today, you can understand that whenever there is a fracture of the neck of the femur, do not expect any callus formation because inner cambium layer of the periosteum is absent. So that's about periosteum. Now, if you have a periosteum, then you definitely have an endosteum. So what is endosteum? Where is endosteum? So you can see that this inner layer is basically the endosteum. So you have the medullary canal. I'll repeat it for you. You have the medullary canal. The inner lining of the medullary canal is endosteum. Then you have the cortical bone. The outer lining of the cortical bone is called periosteum, which is further divided into two layers. Outer fibrous meant for protection, inner cambium meant for callus. It is absent in neck of femur, therefore never expect callus in neck of femur. Now, please try to remember, I have said this, if you have attended my lecture ever, I have said this multiple times, that the level life of a bone is what is called as periosteum. But please try to understand that love and life of a bone called periosteum comes to get activated only if you do something to the bone. There's a trauma to the bone, tumor to the bone, TB of the bone. मेरा बात समझ आ रहा है? It is the endosteum which is the most metabolically active layer. It is the endosteum which is the most metabolically active layer in a normal long bone. In a normal long bone, it is the endosteum which is the most metabolically active layer. I hope you people have understood. So if there is a bone which has got some sort of an injury, then the metabolically active layer is periosteum. But if there is a bone which has got a normal structure, then the most metabolically active layer is called as endosteum. So this is your question number 1, which I hope you all can understand now. So most metabolically active part in a bone is, come on everyone, the answer has to be endosteum. All right, answer has to be endosteum.